The salt-laced wind that whipped around the lonely lighthouse on the northern coast carried no sounds of human life, only the mournful cries of gulls and the endless sigh of the sea. It was the perfect refuge for a man who wished to be forgotten. He was Leo, once a celebrated glassblower, now a recluse. A devastating studio fire had not only stolen his life's work, but had also taken his mentor, Thomas, the man who had taught him that glass held a soul. In his grief, Leo had fled here, to the edge of the world, where he now created only silent hearts, dense, opaque glass paperweights, beautiful but impenetrable, mirroring his own state. They were solid, heavy, and designed to keep everything out. She was Anya, a marine biologist whose voice had been stolen not by fire, but by failure. A deep-sea research expedition she had led had gone catastrophically wrong, resulting in the loss of a colleague and a submersible. The ensuing inquiry, the silent accusations, the crushing weight of guilt, it had all manifested as a severe stammer that made every word a battle. She had come to this remote coast to study a rare, bioluminescent plankton, Noctiluca scintillans, finding a painful kinship with these microscopic creatures that communicated through silent, fleeting bursts of light. Their meeting was as gradual as the tide. Leo first noticed her as a solitary figure on the beach, a splash of color against the gray stones. He watched her for days, this woman who seemed to listen to the sea. Then, one misty morning, he found her crouched in the pebbles, holding one of his silent hearts that had fallen from his workshop. She was turning it over in her hands, not with admiration, but with the intense, analytical focus of a scientist. "It's meant to be felt," his voice, rough from weeks of silence, cut through the fog, "not dissected." She startled, the glass sphere slipping from her fingers. It rolled towards his boots. I'm sorry," she managed, her face flushing a deep, painful crimson. The words were wrestled from her throat, each one a small defeat. He bent down, picked up the perfect, unmarred sphere. "It's designed not to break," he said, his eyes meeting hers, "like some people pretend to be." A fragile truce was born. Anya began to visit his lighthouse, first with excuses, a question about the tides, an offer to share coffee. Their conversations were halting, built more on shared silence than words. He slowly began to speak of glass. He showed her how sand, the most common of things, could be transformed into something magical. He explained that glass was neither truly solid nor liquid, but a state in between, a liquid moving so slowly it appeared frozen. "It's a lesson in patience," he murmured, his hands, scarred and strong, gesturing to a molten gather on his blowpipe, "and in accepting that some things are always in a state of becoming." In return, she opened the world of the sea for him. She took him out in her small boat at dusk and showed him the plankton. With a sweep of her hand through the black water, she painted the darkness with 1,000 points of ethereal, blue-green light. "They're tea talking," she whispered, her voice softer, less strained in the dark. "Chemical signals. A silent language of light." She told him of whale songs that traveled entire oceans, a low-frequency poetry meant for listening over vast, lonely distances. The turning point was a late summer squall. The sky turned the color of bruised iron, and the sea became a churning fury. From his high window, Leo saw the frantic, bobbing light of Anya's research boat, caught in the swell, dangerously close to the jagged rocks. Without a second thought, he did what he had not done since arriving. He lit the great lamp of the lighthouse. The powerful beam cut through the lashing rain, a solid, unwavering finger of light guiding her home. When her boat finally scraped against the small dock, she was trembling, soaked to the skin, her knuckles white from gripping the wheel. That night, huddled by his wood stove as the storm screamed outside, the last of her defenses crumbled. In a voice fractured by sobs and her stammer, she told him everything: the crushing pressure of the deep sea, the malfunction, the terrible silence after the accident, the weight of a life lost under her command. Moved by her raw vulnerability, Leo led her to a part of the lighthouse he kept locked. It wasn't the workshop for his paperweights. It was a gallery of his past. Delicate, intricate glass sculptures filled the room, a school of fish caught in mid-turn, a jellyfish with tendrils so fine they seemed to pulse with life, a spiral shell that glowed with captured morning light. "I stopped making them," he confessed, his voice thick, "because they were too transparent, too vulnerable. It felt like displaying my own beating heart for the world to see." Inspired, a crazy, beautiful idea began to form in Anya's mind. She sketched frantically on a piece of chart paper. "A BB bridge," she said, her eyes alight. "Not for people, for light." She proposed a span of specially crafted glass, stretching from the base of the lighthouse to small, rocky islet where the plankton gathered most densely. The light from the PP plankton, it would travel through the glass. A bridge of light, over the dark water. The project became their shared salvation. Leo, his passion for his art rekindled, experimented for weeks, creating a new glass formula, incredibly strong, resistant to the salt and waves, yet optically pure, able to conduct light like a solid beam. He designed interlocking segments, each one a masterpiece of engineering and art. Anya calculated the precise angles, mapped the currents, and studied the plankton cycles, her voice growing steadier with each passing day as she was consumed by a purpose greater than her fear. They worked side by side for months, their communication evolving into a seamless, silent language. A touch on the arm, a pointed finger, a shared glance was all that was needed. The physical labor was immense, hauling the heavy glass segments into place, securing them against the relentless sea. When the final segment was locked into place, the bridge of whispering glass arched over the cove, a delicate, crystalline thread that seemed too beautiful to be real. Skeptics called it a folly, a fragile piece of art that the first winter storm would shatter. But they waited for a moonless, windless night. As darkness fell, the sea below the bridge began to stir with the ghostly glow of countless noctilucous scintillans. And then, as if by magic, the bridge itself began to wake. The plankton's cold, blue light was captured by the glass, conducted along its entire length until the entire structure hummed with a soft, otherworldly radiance. It was a pathway of captured starlight, a silent symphony written in bioluminescence and glass. The world took notice. Scientists came to study the unique properties of the glass. Artists made pilgrimages to witness the phenomenon. But for Leo and Anya, the bridge's true miracle was personal. Standing at the very center of the glowing span one quiet evening, Anya looked at Leo, her face illuminated by the gentle blue light. "You taught me," she said, and her voice was clear, strong, and without a single stumble, that even what seems broken can be remade into something more beautiful than the original. She took his hand. "My voice isn't fixed. It's been reforged." He squeezed her hand, looking at the woman who had pulled him back from the brink. "And you taught me, Anya, that transparency isn't a weakness. It's courage. It's what allows the light to get in and out. The bridge of whispering glass still stands, a testament to their resilience. Leo no longer makes silent hearts. His new sculptures are filled with light and movement, each one a celebration of transparency. Anya leads research teams again, her voice a confident instrument of command and discovery. They proved that the way to heal isn't to build thicker walls, but to have the courage to build a bridge, especially one made of something as fragile as glass, strong enough to carry the weight of light and two redeemed hearts.